New York-born musician Bela Fleck has been playing the banjo for 35 years. He is considered a virtuoso.
I know it's just a banjo to most people, but to me, my whole life is centered around playing this instrument, and so it becomes more and more important, all the little details about where it comes from and how it's perceived by people.
Like many people, Fleck always thought of the banjo as an all-American instrument, with its origins rooted in the southeastern U.S. But he soon found out that, contrary to popular belief, the banjo did not originate in America.
The more I played the banjo, the more I would hear people say, well, the banjo really comes from Africa originally. And the slaves brought the banjo over, or something like the banjo, and then gradually it evolved into this instrument that we call the American banjo.
So Fleck traveled to Africa not only to explore the banjo's roots, but also to meet and play with local African banjo players.
West Africa is where you really see things like banjos. East Africa, not so much. But in West Africa, you have the ngoni, you have the akanting, and it's the most natural thing in the world to take a gourd, put a skin over the top, and run some strings over that.
Fleck says the Africa akanting is played today in the same style, called clawhammer, that African slaves used when they first brought it with them to North America in the 1600s.
And the music they were playing was very reminiscent of what I understand the slave music to sound like. The stuff that they were playing on the plantations and stuff. So I was convinced that there was a direct line of some kind going on there.
Fleck says one of the highlights of his journey through Africa was stopping in each place long enough to play with popular local musicians, each of whom had their own version of Aboriginal banjo. These informal gatherings resulted in lively, spontaneous jam sessions, which were recorded for a documentary and a CD.
I chose people that I thought were really wonderful and that I thought I could play with. But in some cases I just dove in head first and I had no chance to prepare, and some of those things ended up being magical.
One of those magical moments came when he played with the internationally known Malian singer Oumou Sangaré.
That's the wonderful thing. When the musicians are at a certain level, magical things start to happen when you put people together.
Bela Fleck's cross-cultural quest led this virtuoso to discover where he and his instrument fit in.
I'm a banjo player who loves music and who's curious. To think of it simply as a southern white instrument is only looking at a tiny piece of the picture of what the banjo is.
Bela Fleck spent 5 weeks in Africa visiting Uganda, Tanzania, the Gambia, and Mali. His experiences are chronicled in a new CD called Throw Down Your Heart, and in this film of the same name, directed by his half-brother Sasha Palladino. Bela Fleck says his journey through Africa has given him a new appreciation for the banjo and has reinforced his desire to continue playing with other accomplished musicians from around the world. Julie Taboh, VOA News, Washington.